The cold cage, the air was cold. Metal walls surrounded her. Darkness lived in every corner of the cage. The girl, with silver skin and glowing blue eyes, didn't move. She sat curled up, arms around her knees, as if trying to make herself invisible. Her body was thin, scarred, and weak. Her name? She had none. She had been there for many cycles. No one talked to her. No one fed her properly. The alien slavers had thrown her into the cage after deciding she was damaged. She was no longer useful. They didn't kill her. They just forgot her. The ship groaned as it moved through space. Loud footsteps echoed now and then. Guards patrolled outside the cage room. They never looked inside. To them, she was already dead. But someone did notice her. His name was Tom. He was a human engineer, captured in a raid and forced to work in the ship's engine room. While repairing a damaged pipe near the lower decks, he heard a sound. Soft, breathing like someone hiding. He followed the noise. When he found the cage, he froze. Inside was a girl. Alien, yes, but not frightening. She looked broken, not dangerous. Her eyes were wide open but lifeless, staring at the wall. "Hey," Tom whispered, kneeling down. "Can you hear me?" No answer. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small food bar. He slid it through the bars. She didn't move. Tom left it and walked away. The next day, he returned. The food bar was gone. He smiled and placed another one. Days passed like this. He didn't talk much. Just left food and water. Sometimes he'd sit and talk quietly about Earth, about trees, about oceans. She never replied, but she listened. Her eyes slowly changed. They blinked more. They followed his voice. One day, Tom asked, "Do you have a name?" Silence. "No." He tilted his head. "I guess that means I can give you one." He smiled gently. "I'll call you Lyra. That okay?" She looked at him. Her lips moved. Lyra. His heart jumped. It was the first sound she made. "Yeah, Lyra. That's you." For the first time in cycles, Lyra felt something. Soft and strange. Not fear. Not pain. Something like warmth. It scared her, but she didn't look away. She watched Tom every time he came. He talked to her like she was a real person. Like she mattered. One night, Tom brought a blanket. "It's cold down here," he said. "This should help." As he slid it through the bars, her hand moved, slowly, shaking. She touched the blanket. Her hand trembled. He didn't say anything, just sat back and waited. She wrapped it around her shoulders. Tears filled her glowing eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. Tom looked at her, stunned. "You can talk?" "I forgot." "How?" she said softly. Her voice was cracked, dry like dust. He gave her water. Days passed. Weeks. Every visit, she grew stronger, not just in body but in spirit. She asked questions now, small ones. "What's a sunset?" Tom smiled. "You'll see one someday." "What is snow?" "Cold, soft, and white. Falls from the sky." She smiled. It was small, but real. But danger was growing. A guard noticed the missing food. "Someone's stealing supplies," he said. Tom stayed quiet. That night, he ran to Lyra's cage. "They're looking for who's taking food. I won't be able to come for a while." Lyra's face fell. "But I'll be back. I promise." She nodded. 3 days passed. No Tom. Lyra sat in the dark, holding the blanket tight. On the 4th day, footsteps came fast. A whisper at the bars. "Lyra," Tom said. "They found out. I have to leave. Tonight. I have a plan." Her eyes widened. "You're escaping?" "Yes," he said. "And you're coming with me." I can't walk far. I'll carry you." Lyra's heart raced. No one ever carried her, no one ever wanted her but Tom. He touched her soul. She nodded. Okay. He smiled. Then we escaped tonight. He taught her a name. The night was silent. But the silence felt heavy. Lyra sat inside her cage, her glowing eyes staring at the metal door. Tom had promised to return. Her hands trembled as she held the worn blanket he gave her. She had waited for so long in darkness. But now she was waiting for someone who cared. Outside, Tom moved through the ship with quiet, careful steps. Every shadow could be a guard. Every sound could bring death. His heart beat fast, but not from fear for himself. He feared for her. He reached the lower level and looked around. No guards in sight. He tapped once, twice on the cage wall. There, Signal Lyra stood slowly. He opened the door quietly with a stolen keycard. The door creaked. Are you ready? He whispered. She nodded. I trust you. Those words gave him strength. Tom pulled out a small injector. This will help your body move faster, just for an hour, enough to run. She hesitated but nodded. He pressed it to her neck. A soft hiss. Warm liquid entered her bloodstream. Lyra gasped. Her legs tingled. Her chest felt light. She could move. Not perfectly, but better than before. Tom grabbed her hand. Stay close. They slipped into the hallway. Alarms hadn't been triggered. Yet. This way, he said, towards the escape pods. But nothing was that simple. As they turned the corner, 2 guards stood at the far end. Tom pushed Lyra into a storage room. They held their breath. Footsteps approached. Voices spoke in another language. Lyra's eyes glowed faintly in the dark. She pressed close to Tom, her heart pounding. One guard stopped near the door. Had they heard something? A beep echoed from there. Comms. Deck 2 breach, report immediately. The guards cursed and ran off. Tom exhaled. Someone else caused a distraction. Lucky. Not lucky, Lyra said. Maybe fate. They ran again. Corridors passed. Shadows danced. Tom held her hand tight. We're close, he whispered. But then, a red light blinked. Security grid activated, the ship's voice said. Unauthorized. Movement detected. No, Tom muttered. A blast door slammed behind them. Another shut ahead, trapped. I'll open it, Tom said, rushing to a panel. Keep watch. Lyra stood beside him, watching the corridor. Then she heard it. Fast, footsteps, heavy armor, guards coming. She looked at Tom. Hurry. Almost done. Too late. 3 guards appeared, rifles raised. Freeze! Lyra stepped forward. Stop, Tom shouted. But she didn't listen. She closed her eyes, and something woke up inside her. Her body shimmered. Energy pulsed beneath her skin. The guards paused, confused. She raised one hand. A wave of soft blue light exploded outward, not as an attack but a force that pushed the guards back like a powerful wind. They hit the walls, weapons falling. Lyra collapsed, weak from the effort. Tom caught her. What was that? I don't know, she whispered. But it listened to me. Tom grabbed her and opened the final door. They stumbled into the pod bay. We made it, he said. Just one more step. He helped her into the pod. He entered, after her, and sealed the hatch. Launching escape pod, the system said. A loud hiss, then silence. The pod ejected from the ship and entered cold space. They looked out the small window. The stars were everywhere. We're free, Tom whispered. Lyra smiled for the first time, but it was not over. A red light blinked on the console. Tracking beacon active, Tom read. They're following us. Lyra stared at the stars. Then we don't stop running. He nodded. She turned to him. Thank you for giving me a name. Tom looked at her. Lyra, you were always someone. You just forgot. I just reminded you. She leaned back, her hand in his. Then never let me forget again. The silent escape. The escape pod floated silently through the cold emptiness of space. Inside, Lyra lay curled on one of the narrow seats, breathing slowly. Tom sat across from her, checking the systems, trying to hide the worry in his eyes. They had escaped the slaver ship, but not its reach. A red light blinked on the console again. Tracking beacon active. Tom had tried to disable it twice. Both times it reactivated. It wasn't a normal tracker, it was buried deep in the pod's core. Even Tom couldn't get to it without cutting power completely, and in space, that meant death. How long? Lyra asked softly. Hours. Maybe less, Tom replied. They'll send a hunter ship. Fast. Small. Armed. Then we can't wait. We can't run either, Tom said. This pod's fuel is almost gone. I can steer a little, but not far. Lyra sat up, her silver skin glowing faintly in the dim light. Her strength was returning faster than expected. Something inside her had changed. The power she used on the ship. It hadn't gone away. It was still there, humming like a sleeping storm. Tom looked at her. Lyra, do you remember anything? Before the cage? She shook her head. Only flashes, pain, screaming, chains. Then nothing. He nodded slowly. Whoever you were, they feared you. I feared me too, she whispered. Suddenly, the pod beeped again. Approaching planetary field. They both leaned toward the window. A planet spun below them, half covered in clouds, with large green forests and wide oceans. We have one chance, Tom said. If we land, we can hide. Maybe break the beacon from the outside. Lyra nodded. Tom activated the descent system. The pod shook violently. Heat filled the cabin. The ship trembled as it hit the planet's atmosphere. Fire streaked past the windows. Hold on, he shouted. The pod crashed through the clouds, heading for a thick forest. A loud crack, then darkness. When Lyra opened her eyes, she was lying on soft ground. Real ground. Not metal. Not cold. Grass. Trees rose above her, green and tall with sunlight piercing through. She sat up, her body sore. The pod was half buried in the earth nearby, smoke rising from its side. Tom? She called. A grunt answered. From inside the pod, she rushed over and found him pinned under a broken support beam. You're alive, she cried. Barely, he groaned, smiling. Help me out, will you? Together she used her strength to lift the beam. It was heavy, but something inside her pulsed again. Her eyes glowed brighter. The metal moved. Tom crawled free. You're stronger than before, he said, looking at her with amazement. I feel different, she admitted. Like a piece of me woke up. Good, Tom said, because we're going to need that piece. They spent the day hiding the pod under fallen branches and leaves. Tom worked on disabling the beacon while Lyra explored nearby. She discovered water. Fresh, clean. She touched a flower, soft and alive. Everything felt real, more real than anything she had ever known. But that night, the sky changed. A red star blinked above the trees. Hunter ship, Tom said grimly. They found the beacon. They had maybe an hour. We'll have to move, Lyra said. Deep into the forest. Tom packed what he could. They traveled on foot through thick roots and glowing plants. Strange sounds came from the woods. Alien birds, insects, life. Lyra led the way. Tom noticed something. Her steps were quiet, her senses sharp, like she belonged to this place. You move like you've been here before, he said. She looked back. Maybe I have. Behind them, in the sky, a low hum grew louder. They turned to see a black triangular ship slicing through the clouds. Run, Tom shouted. They ran. Laser fire struck behind them. Trees exploded into flame. A spotlight cut through the forest, chasing them. Tom stumbled. Lyra grabbed his arm and pulled him up, dragging him behind a fallen tree. She turned and lifted her hands. Energy swirled around her fingers. The spotlight hit them. Lyra stepped forward. She raised both hands. and a shield of glowing light formed in front of her. The hunter ship fired again, but the blasts hit her shield and scattered like sparks. Tom stared in shock. "How are you doing this?" "I don't know," she said, her voice trembling. "But I can." The ship hovered, confused. Lyra focused. With a cry, she pushed her hands forward. A beam of raw energy shot from her body, hitting the ship's wing. The ship jerked, spun, and crashed into the forest, smoke rising. Then silence. Lyra collapsed. Tom rushed to her side. "Are you okay?" She nodded weakly. "I didn't know I could do that." "Neither did they," Tom said, "but now they will, and they won't stop coming." She looked up at him. "Then we don't stop either." A world with no chains, the fire from the hunter ship still burned. In the trees behind them, black smoke rose high into the early morning sky. Lyra and Tom walked deeper into the unknown forest, both silent, both shaken. The night had given them no rest. Only questions. They had escaped again, but it felt different this time. It felt like something had started. The forest was alive, not just with animals and wind, but with something ancient. The trees were massive and twisted, their bark glowing faintly in patterns that pulsed like veins. Strange flowers opened as Lyra passed, as if recognizing her. Tom noticed it too. "This place, it's not normal," he said, brushing a hand across a vine that moved away from his touch. "It's like the forest knows we're here." Lyra walked slowly ahead. She didn't look afraid. In fact, she looked calm, stronger than ever before. "I think this world remembers me," she said softly. "You mean like from your past?" "I don't know," she said. "But when I walk here, my heart feels heavy, like I left something behind long ago." They kept walking. After hours, they reached a small hill covered in moss. From the top, they saw a strange sight. A city of stone ruins buried beneath the forest, with giant arches and pillars stretching into the earth like broken bones. "What is this place?" Tom whispered. Lyra stepped forward slowly. "This was home. Once. You remember?" She nodded, touching a carved wall. Strange alien letters shimmered under her hand. Images filled her mind. A tall tower, a crowd of voices, a child screaming, metal hands dragging her away. She gasped and fell to her knees. "Lyra!" Tom rushed over. "I remember. They took me from here," she said. "I was just a girl. They called me the Soul Keeper. They said I was dangerous." "Why?" She looked up, eyes glowing brighter now. "Because I could feel everything, people's pain, their joy, their memories, even the forest. I could hear it speak. The wind moved around them, gentle and warm. Then they chained me, caged me, made me forget who I was." Tom held her shoulder. "But now you remember." "Just pieces," she said, "but it's coming back." Suddenly a deep sound echoed through the trees like a drum, not from machines, not from slavers. Something else. Lyra stood up, her body tense. "We're not alone." "Another ship?" Tom asked, hand on the tool belt. He'd built from scrap. She shook her head. "No. Older." They moved carefully through the ruins. The sound came again, closer. Beneath their feet, the ground began to glow. Symbols lit up in circles, pulsing with her every step. Then the ground cracked. A massive stone disc opened. A platform rose from the earth. On it stood 3 figures, tall, elegant, alien. Their bodies were covered in armor made of bark and stone, eyes like glowing emeralds. Tom stepped in front of Lyra instinctively. One of the beings raised a hand. "Soul Keeper," it said in a voice that echoed inside their minds. "You have returned." Lyra's breath caught. Who are you?" she asked. "We are the Watchers of El Shara. This was your world before the slavers came, before your power was sealed." Tom frowned. "Why did they take her?" "Because she was born with something rare, a gift to feel the pain of the universe and bring balance to it. But she was feared, betrayed." Lyra looked down, struggling to hold back tears. Why now? She asked. Why appear now? Because your power is waking, and something dark follows you. The slavers? Tom asked. Worse, said the Watcher. They awakened something ancient when they caged the Soul Keeper, something that feeds on broken spirits, and now it follows her light. Suddenly the sky darkened. The wind froze. Above the trees, clouds swirled into blackness. They found us, Lyra whispered. No, said the Watcher. It found you. A massive shadow moved through the clouds, no ship, no machine. A living storm shaped like a beast with eyes like burning stars. It howled through the sky. What is that? Tom gasped. The Soul Eater, said the Watcher. It hunts what shines. It eats what heals. The Watcher turned to Lyra. You must awaken fully, or it will destroy not just you, but this world. Lyra shook her head. I'm not ready. Then you must become ready. The Watchers raised their hands. Light surrounded Lyra. It entered her chest like fire and wind. Her body lifted into the air, glowing with energy and memories. She saw everything, her past, her power, her pain. She screamed. Then silence. When she opened her eyes, she stood taller, stronger. Her voice was clear. I remember who I am now. Tom looked at her with awe. Lyra, we must run, she said, taking his hand, but not in fear, in purpose. The Soul Eater roared in the sky, and behind them, the forest began to move, not away, but with them. The hunters returned. The forest was not still anymore. Trees whispered. Vines moved. Flowers closed as the sky darkened above. Wind howled across the ancient ruins, and every leaf seemed to shiver with fear. Tom held Lyra's hand tightly as they ran through the twisting paths of the jungle. She no longer stumbled. She no longer hesitated. She was awake now, but she was also being hunted. Far above, beyond the storm clouds, the Soul Eater circled like a dark god. Its body shifted between mist and fire. No engines, no wings. It didn't need them. It followed pain, and Lyra's soul still carried enough pain to shake galaxies. We have to find cover, Tom said, checking the small scanner he had built from pieces of their broken pod. Whatever that thing is, it's drawing other signals. Slavers? Lyra asked. Yes, he nodded. They're close. 2 ships, smaller, fast. They're tracking the beacon even though the pod is gone. Lyra's eyes narrowed. Then, they'll come here. We can't fight them both, he said. We need a place to hide. No, she said quietly. We need to make them see. See what? That I'm not their weapon anymore. They found an old underground chamber beneath a tree that looked like it had been alive for thousands of years. Strange blue light lit the walls, pulsing gently. Inside, Tom set up a temporary shelter. Lyra sat in the center of the room, her hands resting on the glowing floor. This place speaks to me, she said. What's it saying? She looked up. It remembers me, and it remembers the Soul Eater. Tom frowned. What is that thing? She spoke slowly. When I was a child, I remember my people talked about a shadow, something that fed on light. They said it came only when someone like me was born. It followed the energy of soul keepers. They feared it, so they tried to hide me. So they gave you to the slavers? Tom asked, angry. No, she said, sadness in her eyes. They tried to protect me, but the slavers found out. They attacked, burned my village, killed everyone, and took me. So the Soul Eater came because of you? Yes, she whispered, but it stayed because of what they did to me. A sound cut through the silence, a sharp screech from the jungle. Tom rushed to the scanner. They're here, he said. The slavers. Lyra stood. How many? 5 soldiers, 2 high-energy weapons, and a crawler tank. This is not a scouting team. It's a retrieval mission. They're not here to ask questions, she said. Tom nodded. They'll take you. Kill me. No, she said firmly. Not this time. Outside, In the open forest clearing, the slaver team moved with trained precision. Their leader, a tall alien with red armor and cybernetic arms, pointed at a scanner. "She's down there, 20 meters. A soldier stepped forward. "What about the human? If he resists, kill him." Above them, the clouds moved unnaturally. Lightning struck without sound. Wind tore through the leaves. Something massive was near, but they didn't care. They wanted their prize. Lyra and Tom stepped into the clearing slowly. The soldiers raised weapons. "Target confirmed," the commander said. "Soulkeeper, kneel, or we burn your companion." Lyra stepped forward. "He's not my companion. He's my rescuer, my family, my soul." The commander laughed. "You always were a broken tool. Now you think you're free?" Tom moved in front of her. "You'll have to go through me." "Easy," the commander said. "We can fix her, wipe her again. Maybe make her forget you too." Lyra's eyes began to glow. "You're wrong," she said. "I'm not broken anymore." The earth beneath her feet cracked. Glowing roots burst upward, wrapping around her arms. Not to trap her, but to fuel her. The sky opened with a roar, and the Soul Eater came. The slavers turned, their weapons shaking. "What is that?" a soldier cried. "That's what you created," Tom said. The Soul Eater descended like a god of storm and flame. The trees burned. The sky turned red. But before it could reach Lyra, she raised her hands. A wave of light pushed outward, forming a dome. "This ends here," she shouted. The Soul Eater screamed, but paused. It hovered above, watching, testing her. Then the slavers opened fire. Tom dragged her behind a tree. "They won't stop." "Then I won't stop either," she said. Lyra stepped out, her body glowing like a star. The slavers fired again, but the bullets melted in the air around her. She walked straight through the flames. With a single pulse of light, she knocked 3 soldiers unconscious. The commander growled. "Fine, I'll do it myself." He charged, blade in hand. Lyra didn't move. His blade struck her arm and shattered. "Impossible." "No," she said. "Just healed." Her palm touched his chest, and light surged into him. He screamed, not in pain, but in memory. He dropped to his knees, sobbing. Visions of what he had done. The children he had hurt. The worlds he helped burn. He broke. The last soldier ran. Above, the Soul Eater stared. Then it spoke. Not in sound, but inside their minds. "You are no longer mine to follow." And it vanished into the clouds. Lyra fell to her knees, weak. Tom rushed over. "Are you okay?" "Yes," she whispered. "For the first time, I am." Her power, his heart. The forest was quiet again. The fires from the slaver attack were dying. The Soul Eater had vanished into the clouds. The soldiers who tried to take Lyra were gone, defeated not with violence, but with truth, with memory, with light. Tom sat beside Lyra, holding her hand. Her breathing was slow. Her skin was dimmer now, like a fading star. She had used so much of herself to protect him, to protect a world that once tried to forget her. "You need rest," he said softly. She opened her eyes and gave a weak smile. "I'm tired, but I'm not afraid anymore." "You were amazing," he whispered. "You helped me find my name, then my soul. Now, maybe I'll find my purpose." He wrapped the blanket around her shoulders, the same one he gave her in the cage so long ago. She held it close, not because of the warmth, but because it reminded her of him. But peace didn't last. That night, while the stars blinked quietly above them, a new voice called out through the trees. Not loud, not threatening, but filled with pain. "Soulkeeper." They stood quickly. Tom picked up the small blade he had made from the crashed pod. Out of the shadows walked a child, an alien child, covered in dust and ash, her eyes glowing green with tears. Behind her walked dozens more, children, elders, wounded. All silent. All watching. "Who are they?" Tom asked. Lyra stepped forward. They're like me. They were taken. Maybe long ago. Maybe just now. The child pointed behind her. And then they saw it. Another ship, but not a slaver's. It was old, broken, crashed. Its name painted in a language only Lyra could read. Sanctum 7. Her eyes widened. This was a safe ship, she said. For survivors. People like me. They tried to escape the war. But they never made it. The survivors had lived hidden in the forest for years. Afraid, hungry, forgotten. They bowed to Lyra. You are the first light we've seen in a long time, the elder said. When you fought the Soul Eater, the trees shook, and something woke inside us. Tom stepped forward. We can help them. Get food, water. They don't need just food, Lyra said. They need hope. Like you gave me. She turned to the crowd. I am not a god. I was broken, lost, caged, but I found someone who didn't see my power. He saw my pain and stayed. That made me whole. The people began to cry, but above them something else cried too. A second Soul Eater, bigger, darker, shaped like smoke and teeth. Another one? Tom said, terrified. No, Lyra said. This one is different, older. It doesn't feed on pain. It feeds on hope. She looked at Tom. It came because I changed the light inside me. It can't allow that. The sky split open. The Soul Eater descended like a nightmare from the stars. Trees burned without flame. Voices screamed. Without sound, Tom grabbed Lyra's hand. We run. No, she said. We stand. The survivors trembled. Lyra stepped forward. Her body lit up again. But now it was gold, not blue, not pain. Healing. She looked back at Tom. I need you. He stepped beside her. Always. Don't let go. Never. They both stepped forward together. The Soul Eater hovered above. And then, it attacked. A wave of darkness rushed toward them. But something strange happened. Tom's eyes glowed too. His body shimmered with light. Lyra looked at him in shock. You're like me. No. He smiled. I'm like us. The wave hit and shattered. Light burst from their bodies, joining, forming something new. Not a weapon, not a shield, a song. The Soul Eater screamed as its form broke apart. The survivors began to sing. Not words, but sounds from their hearts. The Eater tried to reform. But light rained from the sky, stars themselves joining the fight. And finally, with one last roar, the Soul Eater vanished in silence. The forest glowed. The air returned. The people knelt. But Lyra and Tom stood hand in hand. Something had changed. She looked into his eyes. I wasn't just saved by your kindness, she said. I was rebuilt by your love. Tom smiled. And you taught me what strength really means. The soul that was touched. The sky above the forest had never been this clear. No fire, no thunder, no shadow, only peace. After the Soul Eater vanished, the world held its breath. The forest, once twisted with fear, stood tall and bright again. Trees straightened. Flowers bloomed in seconds. Light moved through the leaves like gentle waves, and at the center of it all stood Lyra, her eyes calm, her hands warm, her soul whole. Beside her was Tom, no longer just an engineer, no longer just a survivor, but someone changed forever. Not by power, but by love. But it wasn't over yet. From deep underground, a signal pulsed, a sharp, repeating sound. Mechanical, cold, incoming fleet signal, Class 7 command vessel, slaver designation confirmed. Tom looked at the scanner. They're coming. Lyra nodded. They felt the Soul Eater's death. They know I've awakened. How many ships? Tom asked. More than we've ever faced, Lyra said. They won't stop now. The survivors around them, dozens of broken souls once forgotten, stood tall again. Their eyes had changed, no longer afraid, no longer waiting. What do we do? The elder asked. Lyra turned to them. We don't run. But they'll destroy this place, then we protect it, she said. Tom stepped beside her. Together, they had one day to prepare, one day to turn survivors into defenders. Lyra taught the children how to channel their feelings into light, not to hurt, but to shield. Tom used every piece of tech from the escape pod and the ruined ship to build defense fields, traps, and sensors. Others gathered food, water, and made shelter stronger. But night came fast, and with it, the darkness returned. This time not in shadows, but in warships. Across the sky, the stars disappeared. Slaver vessels filled the horizon, dozens of them. The lead ship sent a message. Hand over the Soul Keeper. No one else needs to die. Lyra looked up and sent back a single message. I am not yours to take. The battle began. Ships dropped troops in every direction, but they weren't ready for what waited below. Tom's traps triggered, nets of light, shields of stone, confusion fields from the forest's living roots. But the slavers were many, and then they reached the heart of the forest where Lyra stood alone. She stepped forward as the slaver general approached, a cruel smile on his face. You could have ruled, he said. You were meant to command armies, not forests. I was meant to feel, she replied, not destroy. Then you failed. He raised his weapon. But before he could fire, a shield of energy surrounded her. Tom. His voice echoed from behind the trees. I told you, never let go. He stepped out, wounded but smiling. You should have run, the general growled. Tom shook his head. I already did. Once. Not again. The general fired. The blast struck Tom's chest. He collapsed. Lyra screamed, and something inside her shattered, but not from pain, from truth. Light exploded around her. Time slowed. Every heartbeat felt like thunder. She knelt beside Tom. Please don't leave me. He opened his eyes, just barely. Lyra, you gave me a reason to believe. Her tears fell on his chest. And then, the impossible happened. Her tears began to glow. They entered Tom's wound and healed it. His eyes opened wider. What was that? He asked. She smiled through tears. I touched your soul. Then she stood and faced the army. Behind her, every survivor rose. The forest stood. The planet itself awakened. And in that moment, the slavers realized their mistake. They hadn't come to capture a broken girl. They had come to challenge the heart of a living world, and the world had chosen its guardian. Lyra lifted her hands. Light fell from the sky. The army disappeared in a wave of silence. Not dead. Changed. Each slaver felt what they had stolen. Each one saw the lives they had broken and dropped their weapons, not from fear, but from shame. The war ended that night, not with fire, but with forgiveness. Weeks later, Lyra walked through the green fields of the forest, now a sanctuary. Children laughed. Survivors sang. Old ones planted new life. Tom stood beside her, arm around her shoulder. You never stopped believing in me, she said. Because I saw you, he replied. Not your power, your pain, your heart. She looked at the stars. I wonder if the Soul Eater still watches. Maybe it does, Tom said. But now it knows it can't feed on hope. She smiled. I was broken once, she whispered. Abandoned, forgotten. He held her hand. But not anymore. No, she agreed. Because a human touched my soul and gave it back to me.